In 2024, we posted 12 videos in our first impression series. And throughout those videos, we got hands-on experience in the studio and on the course with a bunch of discs, brands, and plastics we had never thrown before. But which ones would we want to throw again? Hey everyone, it's Greg from Six Sided Discs, and we're counting down the top 6 moments from each of our 4 series over the holiday period. But if you haven't seen those videos yet, now is your warning, because there are spoilers galore coming up later in the video. So check the links in the video description to watch the full comparisons, analysis, and more from each of those videos. Let's kick things off for our first impression series at number 6 with the man, the myth, the legend, Scott Stokely. Scott Stokely was the first guest on our podcast, All Six Sides, and I got to meet him in person at Idlewild, where I picked up a couple of his company's new discs, the Cardinal, Wren, and Owl. And we were impressed. The Cardinal and Owl both performed well, with accurate flight numbers, a feat many experienced companies can't deliver. But the standout was the Wren. A straight putter that actually had some torque resistance was top-notch. And all of this for a new company making their discs for the first time left quite the impression. At number 5 is a bit of a funny story. Much of our first impression series this year actually came to us, from Luft discs to Bernoulli, Trash Panda, AGL, and more. And XCOM discs was a similar story. XCOM reached out to see if we wanted to sell their discs, but with limited space in our inventory, I couldn't say yes. But I could offer to check them out and test them on our channel. And lucky for us, they graciously accepted. And overall, for a brand that I knew nothing about, XCOM was pretty impressive. The plastics felt great, the stamps looked amazing, but one thing wasn't quite right: some of the flight numbers. As several people later pointed out in the comments, a trend emerged. Their turn and fade numbers were actually flip-flopped. So while we didn't notice this issue on discs with -11 or 00 numbers, the -21 and -31 discs were quite overstable, very unexpectedly. Let's move on to number 4, and here's a fun exercise. Think of any company you can, any company at all. Is there more than one way to pronounce their name? And if you were to reach out to that company, would they tell you that you can just pronounce it however you want? Because that's what happened with Temu, or Temu. A company rep was asked in an interview how to pronounce the name, and they said, however you'd like to is fine. So Temu sounds just about right to us, but what about discs from Temu? Well, the discs weren't necessarily bad, but I personally am not going to be spending my hard-earned money on discs that are made by companies that don't really support disc golf. In fact, on some of those discs, it looks like they're just copying what other companies are doing entirely. Oh, and by the way, Temu has some shirts, like this one, with a disc golfer standing on a disc golf basket, something obviously all of us do. All right, moving on, way back in February, and we got the chance to test one of my favorite up-and-coming brands in disc golf, Luft discs. Hailing from Denmark, Luft's approach to disc development was quite unique, launching 4 of their 6 discs on Kickstarter. And one interesting side effect of that is that we, the general disc golf public, get to actually see more about the design and development of a disc, something most disc golf companies would be hesitant to share publicly. And while none of their discs have quite made it into my bag, I very much admire their approach. The Boreum's radical, rounded rim design is something refreshingly new, while the Hydrogen is still the most neutral disc I've ever thrown, holding whatever angle you put it on. Not long after that video, we also got our hands on the Titanium and Neon, and they were pretty impressive as well. Shout out once again to Luft Discs for sending us some samples to test. We now proudly stock their discs on our website at sixsideddiscs.com. Our number 2 first impressions moment from 2024 was both from a company we've worked with before and one that reached out to us about a new disc, the Extraterrestrial 2. Trash Panda introduced only the 2nd disc that we're aware of with an asymmetrical rim behind the Aerobi Epic. So naturally we had to take the opportunity to get our local pal Brent in the video, known for his epic shots, to test the Epic and ET2 together. And after a few throws, we learned that there's nothing quite like the Epic. Although the ET2 shimmy is the dance craze sweeping the disc golf nation, and perhaps the most important note to take away from that video is that Brent does in fact have a forehand and he's very upset that I said he didn't. Sorry, Brent. Moving on to number 1, and let's talk about the future of professional disc golf, which is expensive, but so precise. Protoflight kindly sponsored a First Impressions video in June and sent us some of their prototypes of CNC machined discs. And the process is fascinating. Gateway Disc Sports makes blanks larger and heavier than a normal disc, which Protoflight then slaps on a CNC lathe and cuts out to extremely precise shapes. And the big takeaway that I had here is that injection molding, used by every single company in disc golf, is notoriously inconsistent. And if CNC machines or anything else can make disc golf manufacturing more precise, both professional and amateur players alike will reap those rewards. What did you think about CNC discs, and did you pick one up after that video with the coupon code? Let us know in the comments below. And also let us know what you'd like to see next year from our First Impression series. Making these videos as part of my full-time job is a dream come true, and it wouldn't be possible without all of you watching. So thank you so much for your support. To pay you back for what you've given us here at Six Sided Discs, we'll continue to produce the best disc golf content we can. For Six Sided Discs, I'm Greg. Thank you for 2024. We'll see you in 2025.
The Eagle Wigs. Eagle Wigs. Wigs. The Eagle Wigs. Wigs. The Eagle Wigs. Eagle Wigs. The Eagle Wigs is of the Eagle Wigs is wigs. The Eagle Wigs. The Eagle Wigs. Can you tell me where the wig is on this eagle? Do you see one?
It's like wobbling. It looked like it at the beginning.
Didn't it?
Yeah. That was weird.
It's actually about this disc, but I don't. And as soon as I saw the similarity to the Epic's design, I reached out to,
Maybe this can be your headwind, Epic. That's what happens. They're going right to it.
Watch your ankles.
Isn't that crazy?
But this video is not about that disc. It's actually, no.
And I have no idea why it's a 2. I just know that.
Is there a first one?
I don't know.
But what we really want to know is if it can achieve the incredible. So where does that all leave us? No.
It actually gets out of it a lot quicker than you think.
It's gone.
Okay. If you like this content and want to see more, please consider liking the video, subscribing to our channel, or supporting us on Patreon. Your support makes this content possible.